We tell stories at Milwaukee PBS. Here's one you may have missed.
Do you know any models? I know one. The person who modeled for that statue. You know him too. Do you know who it is? Yeah, here he comes.
Hey, John.
Hey, John. Thanks for modeling that statue.
You're welcome. My 1890 self.
It's nice, a relative right there.
I can never do a handlebar. The guy's got me beat.
Oh, there you go. We're talking Sparta today. How did this place begin?
Pretty much a transportation story, John.
Okay.
We're in the very roughless region of southwestern Wisconsin, where it was pretty difficult to travel back in the early years. The easiest routes were along long, flat stream valleys. The La Crosse River right here and the Beaver Creek very close by. They provided water power, but also road beds. So you had a north-south road here back in 1849, and an east-west one followed 2 years later, connecting La Crosse with Portage. And they were really crude by today's standards, but where they crossed, that put Sparta on the map.
So did it grow up pretty fast?
Not at first, and when it did, it was again because of transportation. Wisconsin had two major rail lines, one that became the Milwaukee Road and the Chicago and Northwestern. They were fierce rivals. They hated each other.
Is that right?
And they met right here in Sparta on their way west. Milwaukee Road got here first back in 1858. They took the easy route along the La Crosse River, and the Northwestern did it the hard way. They came straight through the hill country between here and Elroy back in 1873. It gave them a 32-mile shortcut, but it was really hard to build.
Why was it hard?
Rough terrain,
Okay.
steep grades, and they kept on finding springs that undermined the railroad tracks. But the biggest pain was the tunnels, where the grades were too steep. They had to drill right through the rock. So they did that 3 times. Tunnel number 3 is the longest at nearly 3/4 of a mile, and it cost them $1 million to build, which was a lot of money back in 1873. But that new route let the Northwestern compete head-to-head with the Milwaukee Road in this region. And where they met here in Sparta, it made the town a rail hub, and certainly was part of their economic prosperity.
What else was going on here?
You had Fort McCoy.
Okay.
1905, the U.S. Army began to use the McCoy Ranch just east of town for artillery practice. Pretty soon they bought it, and they kept on adding land until today they have almost 100 square miles. So it's the biggest base in Wisconsin, and it's been a major local employer here for more than a century.
What happened with the trains?
The Amtrak still uses the old Milwaukee Road line,
They do.
But the Northwestern Railroad, the last train there ran back in 1964. And then what happened is the state of Wisconsin had the amazing foresight to buy the entire right-of-way for $12,000 and turn it to a bicycle trail. It was the first rail trail in the U.S. Today there are 22,000 miles of rail trails, and it began right here in Sparta. So it's still a transportation story, but now it's the two-wheeled variety.
And good biking.
Great biking. Elroy Sparta Trail is just a pleasure. Well-maintained, runs through pretty country, pretty small towns. The high point's probably the tunnels. You have to have lights on in all those tunnels, and on a hot day in summer, it can be just heavenly inside those cool tunnels. And because Sparta was a rail hub, it's also a bike hub. You connect here with trails going to La Crosse and up to Mississippi.
Population here?
About 9,700.
And our location?
We are in a city covering about 7 square miles on Interstate 90, about 30 miles east of La Crosse.
And I have one more question, if you don't mind. Can you tell me who Ben Biken is?
Yeah, he's the brother of Wilby Biken down in Illinois.
It's so good to, and you're going. You're
I am.
off.
Oh, yeah. It's too wet this morning. I'll go on the trail this afternoon.
Thanks, John.
Watch Around the Corner with John McGivern on Milwaukee PBS and watch online at milwaukeepbs.org.